Please get ready for a dictation of transcription number 99 from Sir Kailash Chandra magazine. 5 seconds. Start. The Textile Inquiry Committee says that we are getting much less cloth than we had even under a foreign government in the year 1938-39. Only one conclusion can be drawn from this statement of the Textile Inquiry Committee in its report. I have great respect for his intelligence, and I know that the meaning of the report will not have been lost on him. What I was saying was that Indo-Pakistan trade is very important in the entire scheme of our import-export trade. That does not feature much. The market that we lose there is being taken by the foreigners, especially the USA and UK, and the market of Pakistan loses in our country is being taken up to a great extent by these two countries. And if you see the line of trade, the fall in the Indo-Pakistan trade has given rise to our trade with one or other of the foreign countries with regard to certain commodities. Our import and export policy does not take initiative to see as to how the trade could be developed with Pakistan. I am aware of the political difficulties that are in the way of the ministry. At the same time, it is the duty of the ministry to take initiative and bring home the fact that unless and until we put our trade between these two countries where normal and natural economic ties have been disrupted on a proper footing, there will always be disadvantages on our side, and certain other interlopers will come in and take advantage of that situation in order to ruin our economy. And that precisely is what is happening today. If you carefully look into the developments in that connection, there is yet another problem of our relations with UK that calls for a separate treatment. In the old days, the honorable ministers and their leaders and their camp followers were all complaining against the preferential treatment that was then called imperial preference, the various agreements that were arrived at unilaterally for fleecing India's economy. Times have changed, and no longer are we supposed to be in the British Empire. We are a Commonwealth country and a republic. But what about those preferences? Have they all been abolished? Who are deriving all the benefits out of them? That is a point which needs clarification. Whenever we raise that point, we are told that we are deriving more benefits because of these preferences than the United Kingdom. But whenever we read their papers, their London Times economic section and all other papers emanating from the city of London, we find that they tell their own people that they are happy, that they are having this kind of relationship with us, and they are gaining by such preferences. Now, are we to understand that we are both gaining as a result of these preferences? I do not think so. The position is not at all so. On the contrary, as a result of these preferences, India stands to lose. That position, I think, has not been altered to the satisfaction of our country, and the Honorable Minister will perhaps clarify that position when he speaks. If these preferences work to the detriment of our economy, the time has come when we must give them up. We need not go in for such preferences, and I'm sure that the policy which is required has got to be adopted in the interests of our entire economy, not merely in the interests of our foreign sector, and not merely in the interests of any particular sector. Reference has been made to sterling balances. I don't know how much of the sterling balances is left at the moment. It would not exceed 740 crores. It may be much less. A large part of our sterling balances had been expanded with a view to meeting the deficits in the balance of payments. It was thought at the end of the war that these balances which had accumulated there would be utilized for financing certain developments in our country, for developing the economy in our country, in particular for importing machinery that we direly required. After the termination of the war, the reverse process took place. I would only mention what Sir Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister at that moment, has written in his war memoirs. He is very bitter about India's claims on sterling balances. He says that he does not like at all that India should make demands on the sterling balances. He thought that he had saved India and therefore India had no right to claim the sterling balances. This is how he has written, although he does not use the same blunt words